Hello and welcome back to the Chatco podcast, where I discuss media in the forms of reviews and discussions. I'm your host, Drinking Tom Shoes, and today I'm actually going to be discussing and slightly reviewing a event I actually went to this past week. I went on Monday the 21st of April to go to see the PlayStation The Concert, which obviously is a new event that obviously got announced last year. It was, maybe October time I think got announced last year. Which is like this huge tour where they go around and play specific video game music pieces, specifically obviously PlayStation 1s, from the likes of God of War, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, etc., etc. And obviously it's this state-of-the-art, immersive visual experience where you not only got this live orchestra playing these well-known pieces of score from the soundtracks, but also you have these visuals accompanying it, obviously on that big screen behind, and even like these drop-down projection screens that they use to show smaller pieces of visuals, plus obviously all the lighting rigs and stuff like that. So obviously it's like the state-of-the-art, both visual and audible experience. And I well, as soon as I saw it last year advertised, I was like, well, straight off, there's God of War and there's Ghost of Tsushima on this basically list of 4 they announced originally, because it was 4 they announced, and then there was obviously some they announced later on, because it was like, these are the 4 and there's going to be more. Obviously, so as soon as I saw God of War and Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, I've kind of got to go watch this. I've got to go see it. So I ended up talking to Connor, obviously, over Facebook, being like, okay, I know you obviously, I can't see you face to face at the moment because you're away. So do you want to go watch this? So pretty much back and forth. And eventually was like, yeah, we'll book the tickets. And I was looking, and it cost me about 70 quid a ticket, which is kind of annoying because they did put the prices down eventually, because the ticket sales for a lot of these events haven't been the best. I mean, the one I went to, it was pretty packed. I mean, there was only like 2 sections I'd say that there's no one there. But overall, it was a pretty packed, small arena. So this one didn't obviously do too bad sale-wise. But I know a lot of other ones have done not the best. So they've either put the prices down or they've cancelled the entire performance. Which is a shame, because it was something really interesting to both listen to and watch. But yeah, so obviously me and Connor were like, yeah, we're going to watch this. I think I pretty much went to him and went, okay, what we'll do is I'll knock 20 quid off what you owe me. That's your Christmas present right there. You just owe me 50 quid. So he'd already sent me 25 quid a few weeks before this was due. And this all went pretty much straight out the window, because obviously he had to have a procedure done, and that kind of knocked him out and meant that he couldn't do as much travelling. So now he went to Summit a few days before, but he went via car, whereas we were planning to go via the bus. So it is the case of, well, I can't really be travelling that much, so I can't really attend. So I roped Hayden in at the last minute saying, look, you got a free ticket here, let's go watch this. And so it was something pretty interesting. I mean, the show started at 8 o'clock, finished at 10:30, so it's 2.5 hours long, but you have, I want to say about half-hour intermission. I didn't actually check the full time on it, but I reckon it was about half hour. So it's basically a 2-hour performance with a half-hour break. And technically, if you got there straight away, an hour and a half wait. So you're looking at essentially 2 hours waiting, 2 hours actually of a performance. But it's totally worth it. It was really worth the money. I think my only negative, I'd say, is some of the lighting. Where we're sat was beautiful seatings, I might add. It was you fucking straight shot. You see the stage, everything. Problem is, we're on the one side, so you got the stage, and obviously you got the lighting rigs on the sides. You got some lighting rigs on the top and all that. But every now and again, the ones on the side will just blast a beam of light out into the audience, and my god, it was so bright. I felt like I was in the middle of a Men in Black scene, and Will Smith was coming up to me and saying, "Hey, look at this pen." I felt like it was that. That's how fucking bright it was at times. And that's my main negative, I will say. about the whole experience is that at some points I was fucking blind as a bat. But everything else about my experience with this was so positive. I mean, the music was great. The visuals were beautiful. I mean, the stuff during the God of War set was just amazing. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima as well. I'm going to be biased on those two specifically because I'm a big... They're my two most popular ones out of the whole set in terms of just the game itself. So I'm always going to be biased towards them being, oh, those are the ones that stand out for me. But I mean, in general, they were the standout. I mean, there's two pieces in both of them that I was like, wow, this is really good, especially the visual aspect to it. Ghost of Tsushima, it was there's a part where they play the villain. They play his sort of music, and they got all this fire burn. Obviously, the visuals of fire burning. You got the background video of when he kills that guy. Obviously, he spits liquor all over him and then lights him on fire. You got that visual in the background playing while obviously like it looks like banners are burning in front. It was like so amazing to watch. And then with God of War, it would be the Kratos and Thor battle. So again, you got this vision in the background of watching this fight unfold, and in front you've got this lighting, which obviously is silhouetting Kratos' axe and Thor's hammer, which it was such a visual treat. But obviously, my main thing was the visuals. I'm gonna be interested in, but I was mainly there for the music because I absolutely love the God of War soundtrack, specifically the God of War soundtrack. So I was amped to see which parts they performed. Obviously, I kind of knew they'd played the main theme. I was like, okay, which other themes are we gonna get as well? Because I'm guessing there's gonna be a few other sets of music they're gonna play. So I was like, which ones are they actually gonna show and perform, and which ones aren't they gonna perform? But what they did quite interestingly, because obviously there's 4 announced straight off the bat. As I said, it was God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, and Horizon. And at the bottom of the poster, it was like, okay, more to be announced later on. And then a couple of months ago, I think it was, they obviously announced Bloodborne, Astrobot, Uncharted, Journey, and Helldivers 2. My brain was thinking I was like the other one. And I was like, okay, that's some of that's pretty interesting. I mean, I've never heard the Bloodborne soundtrack, so I don't have a clue about that. That was one Connor was hyped to shit for, but obviously he kind of didn't get to go experience it. Obviously, Journey, never fucking heard of beforehand, but when they were explaining stuff, I kind of understood why it was there. Astrobot, obviously, I've recently played, absolutely loved the soundtrack of that, so I was hyped to shit for that as well. Uncharted, loved the games, was looking forward to it. And Helldivers 2, obviously, I own. I've never played, haven't had a chance to sit down with Connor and play it. So, again, don't really know the soundtrack for that. So, most of them, obviously, of the extra ones, it was like half interested, half not interested. But the way they did it, obviously, the 4 they announced, they're the ones that had the massive visuals, the multiple tracks playing. And they obviously, the ones that they announced later on, they were mainly the main themes and like a shot in the background. So, for example, Bloodborne was like a clock tower, and eventually the main character, obviously the poster character, appeared obviously in front of the clock tower while they're playing the track. Journey, it was like a sort of desert-ish planet, and obviously there's one character at the front. Uncharted, it was a cave and some like jungle experience, obviously area. I mean, at first we was trying to figure out what the fuck it was because they don't sometimes announce them till after when they go, oh, this track by this composer won this, got this, it's amazing. Some of them they do before, some of them do after. And the Uncharted one was the one that came after the break on, and they didn't actually announce what it was. And me and Hayden are sitting there going, is this God of War? Maybe it doesn't sound like God of War, but the visual itself. I mean, it was what looked like ravens and obviously flying through like a cave, and I was like, is that like the shot they first revealed Ragnarok with, the cave shot of Kratos? I was like, I don't think it's God of War. It doesn't sound like God of War. I'm maybe going with Uncharted here, and then next minute Nathan Drake, this image of him appeared, so it was like that. And in Helldivers 2, it was obviously all the soldiers at the front. So those ones were like that. I think Astrobot was the main one that actually had a video playing rather than just pretty much a still-ish image. That was one that pretty much had an actual proper visual video to accompany it, because it was pretty much showing off, Kratos, Nathan Drake, Aloy, when you get to play as those characters, and it was showing off a lot of the other bots in the game, and obviously when you what they look like when you find them in your base, essentially, and you see the start of the game, and obviously you can walk around, they're all doing random shit like Kratos is with his axe, Jin Sakai is just sat in like a bath, well, not obviously not an actual bath, but you know what I mean, like a hot springs bath. Like, it was showing those sort of ones, and then for the ones that actually had bot levels, it would actually show like when they become that character in that level, which is pretty cool. It was a pretty cool thing to watch. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that one of the shirts I picked up, let's go that way, which obviously is the Astrobot one, which obviously has the basic Astrobot, the Aloy Astrobot, the Kratos Astrobot, and the Jin Sakai Astrobot. I mean, the merchandise cost me an arm and a leg, I will admit that. But I did pick up the Ghost of Tsushima one as well, which is a fucking really cool t-shirt. And Hayden ended up with the Horizon one. I wasn't too much of a fan of the God of War or Last of Us t-shirts they had in stock. They were kind of meh. But obviously I wanted something God of War on, and this was the closest I got, was this pretty sick Astrobot one. Because the other Astrobot one was just a basic bot. And to me, I was looking at this shirt, I was like, well, it's got the one character I want a shirt on, but the shirt's not the best. It's got the one character that, obviously, Hayden's got a shirt on. I was like, well, I can get one as well. And then it's got another one of Ghost of Tsushima. I was like, fuck it, I'm having that one. Because it cost me an arm and a leg. But it was worth it, because it's a pretty cool t-shirt. And the Ghost of Tsushima one, which, if you tune in next week, if I don't remember, I will try and wear it on the next podcast. That is also pretty fucking sick. It's like a red sun. Like a bright red sun, I should say, with obviously Jin in front of his katana, which fucking looks epic. But yeah, it's say all of them, obviously, that they had the visuals for were outstanding. Horizon was pretty cool to watch. Ghost of Tsushima was mind blowing. I liked a lot of the shots when they showcased his mask, and I like those shots. Obviously, the sequence of the villain, that was incredible, and the shot where you see the uncle and Jin, which is obviously part of the final battle. That was beautiful to look at. Last of Us obviously had the start menu, the window in the start menu when they're playing the obviously main theme. Obviously, you got to see a lot of the destroyed landscape with obviously what's been taken over. And then obviously God of War, a lot of it was obviously this Norse setting that you got to see. So a lot of the visuals were outstanding. Obviously, I've read a lot of people saying the visuals were the best parts of this. So I saw a lot of people complaining about the orchestra set of it, because it was only a small orchestra. It was like, I think, like 15 people involved, which, for the small scale of it, I think it worked. I don't think it needed this massive orchestra crew, which, to be fair, for the fact that it hasn't sold the best, it kind of makes sense. Obviously, in their eyes, they're probably thinking, well, it's lucky that we didn't go too big with the orchestra part of it. But I still think how they did it, with obviously the few people that had working there, that was fine. Because I mean, a few of them, especially at the front, there's some people on the guitars. They were going through the different guitars. They were swapping instruments consistently. So it was multiple people, small amount of people, doing a larger group's level of work. Which, hats off to them. Hats off, pat on the back, because they were fucking incredible. But obviously, the ordering they did it in, obviously, I'll go for the ordering. So if you're going to watch this, or you at any point, because I think the UK tour is just this 1 week, and then it's going international. So if you listen to this and you go to the international tour, you might want to skip a little while, because I'm obviously going to explain. There's a big spoiler one at the end. So obviously the order they go with, they kick off with Horizon, which was the first one that I played. Then it jumped into Bloodborne, And from Bloodborne, it went into Ghost of Tsushima. And then from there, it was Helldivers 2 before they went for their break. And after they came back from the break, it was Uncharted. And then jumped straight into The Last of Us, which is a pretty cool transition because obviously we're talking about Uncharted being obviously this Naughty Dog game. And they're like, okay, here's this other one. I mean, the guy who was one of the singers, he straight up admitted, obviously, when he was talking about Last of Us, he was like, I'm pretty certain like most of you, I cried at the start of the game, and was like, balls to admit that. I mean, I cried at the start of the game when I first played it. It was very sad. I mean, Hayden cried when we played it on recording, because I turned around and was like, are you crying? And she's like, yes. I was like, okay, it's understandable. And then from Uncharted, they then went into Journey. From Journey, they went to God of War. Then they did the quick Astrobot one, which was supposed to be the last one, because they literally were like, oh, we've got this last one here, and obviously they give a bit of an explanation. But of course, there was a extra one, an encore piece, which they were like, oh, I feel like there's someone missing from this PlayStation concert, and he's kind of amazing. Of course, the last set they did was the Spider-Man, which wasn't advertised. It was a surprise one. And it was, as soon as they made a few little references, I knew straight away, I was like, they're doing Spider-Man. And that one, like Astrobot, had an actual video footage going on. It was like a mixture of the first game, Miles Morales, and the second game. And also the trailer for the second game, because the shot when they're dealing with Venom, and the shot when they're looking into the alleyway where it's pitch black where Venom is. They used some of those footage sequences as well. But as I say, I was just mind blown when they dropped Spider-Man. I was like, I want that. I wanted that one from the start, because obviously when they had the whole on the poster of and more to be announced, I was like, are they going to do Spider-Man? Because I really would love to hear the Spider-Man track, at least the main theme, live. And when they didn't announce it, and announced all these other ones, I was like, oh, fuck's sake, I wanted Spider-Man. I was like, I'm still happy with what we've got, but I just wanted Spider-Man. And I'm kind of happy they didn't announce it till the show itself, because that gave the shock factor, the surprise factor of, here's Spider-Man. And you're like, holy shit. And it's just one of those ones where it was so great to listen to. But I say, I like, one of the things I liked about it as well, either before or after certain pieces, they obviously they speak about the game, they give credit to the composer, and I do just little bits of information here and there. And the one obviously beforehand I was questioning why it's there was Journey, because you got all these other games, and I was like, they all make sense, but I was just like, I've never heard of this game called Journey before. Why is it up here? But they obviously, when they spoke about it before, I think it was it after that one? I can't remember exactly with that one. They did point out it was like one of the first games to actually get nominated for a Grammy, I believe they said. So I was like, as soon as they said that, I was like, okay, I understand why it's there now, because they're celebrating the anniversary of PlayStation games. Of course, you'd want to big up the game that grabbed the first Grammy nomination for video games, or first Grammy win, one of them. So I was like, okay, that makes sense now why it's there. I mean, it's an interesting piece of music. I wouldn't say it's my favourite of all the songs they played on the night, but it was still an interesting piece of music. But still, I say it's one of those experiences that beforehand I was hyped for, because I say I love video games, I love PlayStation games, they're exclusive games that have such a good backlog of games. And after watching it, apart from the lighting situation, I was hyped. I was still ecstatic, and I was still happy that I went. It was something that I was like, okay, it's a lot of money, but it was a worthy experience, because it's not something I would generally jump at going to. To be fair, I don't really go to many concerts. I mean, I went to one back in March, because Hayden dragged me to watch Sabrina Carpenter. But most of the concerts I've been to, which is obviously, if you ignore this one, is free. Those were your run-of-the-mill, like, rock bands, singers, those sort of types of concerts. The closest I got to an orchestra type concert probably would have been the Jaws live one, which was when they obviously had the movie playing in the background, and they had an orchestra playing the soundtrack live. That's the closest I got to, which as well was an incredible experience. And the biasness of my love for Jaws definitely helps there. So that was the closest I got to this type of experience. But I've always wanted to go to the Assassin's Creed ones they do, the Symphony ones when they tour. But they're always, I think here in the UK, the closest one for me, it's not even close. I think London. I want to say they've done one in Birmingham, but I'm not too sure. I think they might have, but it was a shit day. But I absolutely got so lucky with the day they chose for the PlayStation 1. Because when I was looking at, I was like, oh, it's a Monday. I was like, that's fine. I can still go. It means coming back and then going to work straight away. But then I found out it was on Bank Holiday Monday, so Easter Monday. That made it so much more easier for me to go, you know what? I'm snapping up those fucking tickets. I'm getting 2 tickets to watch this. I'm just happy that I didn't buy 4, because the original plan was me, Connor, Hayden, and D, and that would have fucked me over, because obviously myself and Hayden would have had our tickets, but we'd been fucked over by the fact that would have had 2 tickets that I could not do anything with, apart from trying to see if I can rope anyone into joining us. So I'm happy that I only brought 2, because I would have been fucked after everything that went on with Connor, which he's doing better now. I will point that out. It was something that needed to happen, and hopefully by the time this goes out, he's getting ready to get back to work, because I got my time off coming up soon. So yeah. But yeah, so it's one of those experiences that it's good to experience for the first time, and I like what they did. And as I say, if they ever do the Assassin's Creed one and it's a day I can go and it's a reasonable location, I'm going to jump at it. I mean, if they ever do a full God of War one, or a full any of the big games they perform, if they ever do a full concert on just them, I will try to jump my ass straight to it, because I know they did a God of War one a few years back, and I would have loved to have gone to watch that. But sadly I didn't. But after experiencing the brief track list I did for this, I'm like, I would love to go experience this performance on a bigger scale with more of the soundtrack. Because obviously, for the ones that have got 2 games, they kind of try to juggle the soundtracks. So they played some parts of like the first game, they played some parts of the second game. So obviously, as I say, with God of War, that obviously they did the Kratos and 4 track, but then I'm pretty certain they play the track when obviously they say goodbye to the mom at the start of the first of the Norse God of War stuff. I believe that was the one track they played as well. So that's how they kind of juggled it. Obviously, same with The Last of Us. They basically played both versions of the main theme, from obviously the one from the first game and the one from the second game. So obviously that's how they kind of juggled it. I'm not 100% certain on the Horizon one if they did both with that one. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima, they only played the Ghost of Tsushima game soundtrack. It would have been cool, I'll admit now, if they gave a sneak preview of a Ghost of Yotai track, like the main theme, or just any theme from it, being like, oh, this is like a quick sneak preview. That would have been fucking amazing, and blew my mind even more. But they kind of obviously haven't really released anything from that in terms of music wise, so it makes sense that since this is coming out before that game, that we're not actually going to get anything from it. But it still would have been pretty cool if we was able to experience that. I think the other thing that kind of shocked me, which I knew there was going to be some level of vocal performances, because I have seen some little clips beforehand during the advertisements, and there was obviously moments where you've seen someone obviously with a microphone, and my mindset was obviously that, oh, they're going to perform like for example, the Horizon main theme. Obviously, there's an artist singing during that. So I was like, oh, I'm guessing they're going to be playing that. Same with God of War, because obviously there's a lot of moments where someone's obviously chanting and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm guessing they're going to be doing that as well. I mean, they did do that. I mean, the fucking God of War one. I'm still thinking of it now. It's still blowing my mind how excellent that was. But obviously there was also, for Horizon, Last of Us, and God of War, they actually performed one of the actual lyrical songs from the games. God of War specifically was the Blood Upon the Snow song from Ragnarok, which, after hearing them do it for Horizon and Last of Us, because the Last of Us one was obviously I think it was the scene when in the barn, obviously they're all dancing and stuff. It was that obviously song that was playing. I mean, after they played those two, I was just like, are they going to do the Blood Upon the Snow from God of War? Because that's obviously the most recent song from it. I was like, are they going to play that one? I mean, it'd be cool if they did, because they've done it for two others. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, they didn't, because obviously there wasn't really, I don't remember there even being one that they could have played from it. But obviously I was like, are they going to do this for God of War? And then during the last piece they did for God of War, which is, I believe, the one when they're saying goodbye to the mom after they burnt the boat. Obviously the guy who, one of the artists that was doing it, the guy, he come forward with a microphone and slowly put it down. I was like, is he either going to just talk to the audience here, or he's going to actually sing? And I felt like he's going to sing rather than talk. When he was talking, he was just walking over the microphone. I was like, is he going to sing? Is he going to sing that song? And then the projection screens start coming down, and they start obviously projecting snow falling. Was like, they're going to play the song, and I was so happy they did, because it was obviously it's not as good as the actual original song, but it was still a really fun listen. Which I say, all three they did, the actual lyrical songs were really fun to listen to. I think the Last of Us one was probably the best one, because obviously there was a lot more involved in it. So there was a lot more moments when obviously they're clapping and fucking playing like violins and stuff, and that was pretty cool to watch. So I think that one was probably the best one of all of them. But Blood Upon the Snow was pretty cool to listen to, because you got to see the guy on the I can't remember what the instrument's called, but the one when he's obviously turning it, that was obviously, after seeing Bear McCreary do it at the Game Awards, that was pretty cool to watch live. But yeah, if they ever do anything like this again, this type of experience, or as I say, any game that I'm a massive fan of, and I can get to a concert of it, I'm definitely jumping at the gun for it. I know Death Stranding's got one coming out in November, I think it is. They're touring with music from, I don't know if it's both games or just the first one or just the new one. I'm not too sure on that. But I know they're doing like an international one as well. And the only issue with that is, I think it's just London over here, or basically like one destination at the moment. That's all they've locked in for over here. And I'm just like, can't you just do somewhere else? Like, can't you, like, there's got to be some other places you could have done. But it seems to be, especially in England, it's like one destination and that's it. Whereas other countries seem to have multiple locations. It's like, come on. I don't even cool to listen to, because I like the Death Stranding soundtrack. But it is what it is. But still, it was a really fun experience. Great music, great visuals. So if you can get to it, I do recommend it. It's a blast. Just don't try and sit on the sides, because that's where the fucking light gets you. Try and aim for the middle. That's what I regret, is not trying to get seats in the middle. I kind of went for the where I went, because it was a seat of 4, and I was like, okay, I'll have that, because I was going to be the one that sits with no one next to me, and Connor was going to be the one with people next to him, but I had to take that bullet to the chest, because obviously taking Hayden, she wouldn't want to sit next to anyone. So, but yeah, if you're trying to get one of those, try and get one in the fucking middle, because you'll get probably the lights from the top, but it won't probably be as intense as the ones on the goddamn side. But other than that, I'd say, well worth a trip, that one was, and definitely worth the money. I spent the same amount getting in as I did on the merch table. Which I will add as well, the merch table. Oh, no, I don't really have them over here, they're kind of over there. You actually, every purchase you got a little pin. A really cool little metal pin based on the purchase. So I obviously, with the Ghost of Tsushima one, I got the little Ghost of Tsushima logo as a pin. Obviously, Astrobot, I got a really cool Astrobot dancing. And then the Horizon one, Hayden got a very bland, it's just like a text saying Horizon. So each one, you get one based on your purchase, which I think is really cool. I mean, especially since you're paying how much, I mean, like, what? This was like £45 a shirt. So especially since you're paying that much for a very expensive one-off shirt, it's pretty cool that they went, okay, we'll give you something cool as a little added bonus for getting this. So that was pretty cool of them, I might add. And yeah, I'll give a little review here, like a little rating out of 10. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. That's the lighting trying to blind me, kind of fuck me over, and my ass being numb for majority of the time because I was sat there for so fucking long does hinder it a little bit. But other than that, it was fucking solid, and I'm happy I went. My wallet isn't happy I went, but I'm happy I went. So, yeah, pretty much that is everything I can think of right now. So, if you've been to the PlayStation concert, put your thoughts on your experience in the comments below. If you haven't been, well, just put what your favorite PlayStation game is and what favorite PlayStation game or favorite PlayStation game soundtrack. Put that in the comments below. But say if you've been, put your thoughts on your experience and put which game they performed you thought was the best. So mine is God of War because that was just fucking amazing. And yeah, obviously next week I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I'm not watching Until Dawn till the start of the week, so I won't actually have a chance to do the review on it. Because I know Until Dawn comes out today, basically. But I'm going on Monday, but I won't actually have a chance to do a review on it. So what I might try and do is try and find another video game. I might actually do Uncharted, if I'm being honest with you. That's my mindset's going. I kind of want to do a video game movie, and I haven't done the Uncharted one on the podcast. So I'm just like, I might actually do that one. So we'll see what happens between now and next week. So until then, obviously you can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, Amazon Music, etc., etc. You can also check the video out on YouTube. Whereas I always say, you get to see my ugly mug, but on YouTube you can also see all my other content, all my other gaming content. Because I say I've done plenty of PlayStation games on there. If you're interested in that, I've done both God of Wars. I've done the second Horizon game. I do want to do the first one at some point. I've done a video here and there on Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think it was. I think I did one video on that. And I did obviously the Ghost of Tsushima, and I'll be looking to do Ghost of Yoto when that comes out, and there is both Last of Us available as well. Plus Days Gone, which is something that I was upset there was no music for. I mean, there's a little visual of Days Gone, but there's no music. Same with Ratchet and Clank. Love both those soundtracks. Shame there wasn't a set for them, but then again, it's a 2-hour show. They've got to get these 4 specific ones, multiple tracks in, so it is what it is. So yeah, until then, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.